was much more expensive than the normal koi pond and way less fulfilling. So I don't really know what's going on with the designers of Lijiang Tower. But what we do know is that we're opening up here on the control center, and both teams will be showing each other their best form of dive.
Yep, and it's going to be mirrored comps like you had said, and we'll see who gets the opening frag here, which is really important as you move on to the point.
Well, right now you see NIP actually being a little bit more hesitant here. Gamers Origin looking to get to the point a little bit quicker, and NIP going, you know what, we're actually going to look to rotate around, and maybe you guys move into us and we punish, but neither team going in too quickly here. But now the engagement is underway, and it's going to be Gamers Origin. 2 quick kills. They punish the dive and duo of Fraggy and Linkser, and it's clean. That's 3 early kills here for Gamers Origin, and it leads to a very quick take.
Yeah, oftentimes here on these control maps, we see that a lot of the times the engage gets punished, right? You're used to fighting 3v3 in the back line as the other team counter dives you, but Gamers Origin did just stuck as 6 and were able to focus them down.
They were ready for the dive, and even though it was looking like NIP was going to be the counter dive, it was quite the other way around. That said, NIP coming back in, a Helix rocket right to Dixie Dick to open things out, and now it's just, again, a better counter dive coming in from NIP. They catch Gamers Origin a bit off guard. Now they have the advantage, but we start going into the question of how long can Gamers Origin stall here. Even though they're outgunned and outmaneuvered on all sides, they can still buy a lot of really valuable progress in this fight.
And they are down 3 members so far, trickling in with the kills. Now Gamers Origin, though, they've already got 40% on the board. They still have to deal with the tank here, but the Orb of Discord is there. Zeppe will clean him up. And finally, after 44%, NIP will take the point. They've got the ultimate advantage, too.
Oh, this is a huge ultimate advantage for NIP, and the goal for them here is not to use all the ultimates to win the next fight. You want to ration this out a bit. You don't want to use everything in one go, because then you're just assuring that the fight after that, you're probably going to lose. So we'll see how NIP handles things here. It is a fight they should win. They're able to get the early pickup, courtesy of Zeppe. Good now play there. And now just Fraggy in Primal Rage. Lots of disruption coming in. And this is buying a lot of time, because Gamers Origin, they're already down a player going to begin with Jamerson, and they have to back out.
Yeah, so great ultimate usage there coming out from NIP. I mean, starting it off with a frag with the Zenyatas. I mean, we haven't seen the Zenyatas really come alive as we have in other series so far, but you got to be careful of that right click, that alternative fire.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And the key thing about the Zen getting that pickoff is that NIP didn't have to use anything there. They still have a very rich ultimate bank. They had the Primal Rage, but the rest of the really big impact ultimates saved up. And they're just rope-a-doping Gamers Origin here. They're not getting to a bigger fight. They're just backing out, exchanging poke. And while they do this, the progress ticks up. They get to hold on to the reserves. And at some point, Gamers Origin needs to come in here and force something. Make NIP use their stockpile.
Yeah, I like how they've been playing around the Discord Orb also. Whenever they get tagged by one, they just immediately break LOS and then re-engage once it's off of them. But we have the engage coming out from Gamers Origin. They've already got the first frag onto Himsy.
Well, they get the first pick off, and it causes a late princess to come out from NIP. Now NIP has to use ultimates just to even the odds in the fight where they're down players, and that's never really that efficient. So even though NIP rightfully could have really burned ultimate to save that, they do get pushed off the point because of that early pickoff. So Gamers Origin creating an opportunity for themselves here.
83% on the board for NIP, so even if they retake this point, they're gonna have to hold on to it for one more. Right now, Gamers Origin pushing forward. They've got that sound barrier, they've got the tactical visor, but it's gonna be NIP pushing forward with the first.
NIP moving forward here, trying to use some of their reserved ultimates, but they lose Himsy immediately. The tac visor denied by a good leap in from Ben Best, and suddenly this push not looking very good for NIP. Yes, they have a Dragon Blade in reserve, but Linkser might be foolish if he were to use it here. So NIP, a team that at one point was in very much control of this round, is going to be down to their very final push.
Yeah, they have no support ultimates. Zeppe at 34% away from his Transcendence, and that's the closest support ultimate. Kindle is so far away. He used it in that last engagement. We do have the engage coming up from NIP.
Here comes Linkser diving right in. The blade is out. Linkser out for blood. A beautiful deflection as Linkser goes to town. And though he ends up dying in the process, the opening was made, and NIP not going down here just yet. One fight away for them now to take this round.
Now hit. Doesn't look like he's gonna have enough time. He's 20% away. If they can protract this team fight long enough and just survive, they'll have that Transcendence to just try and finish this out, but Zeppe has one of his own.
Zeppe certainly does as well. He's gonna be transcending early on in this fight, just to keep NIP healthy, Gamers Origin gonna have to work around this. They have a Transcendence of their own, but it's late. Ben Best is already dead before the Transcendence comes out. He was way far away from the supports. We'll see if they can even that. Fraggy goes down. All Winston's off the field as both teams look to get on this point, but it's NIP holding strong with the advantage, and it's Linkser and Zappas just cleaning up the scraps here as Gamers Origin is now in last moment stalling mode.
Yeah, there's nothing else left for them here. We do have the tactical visor coming out from Himsy, and that's what you want to close it out. Getting that last frag onto Ben Best. NIP with the opening volley here up against Gamers Origin, just 2 points away from moving on to the semifinals.
So, NIP, and again for them, the real thing that matters at the end is that they do go forward and win these games where it's, of course, some of this was off stream, but it has been a rough weekend for NIP. But for them to go forward and get to the semifinals on day 2, if they do win the next 2 rounds, that would be a really good story for them, given the adjustments they've had to do to the meta, the adjustments in team roster. We'll see if they can do it, though, as we move on to the next round here in Lijiang.
And they were really close yesterday. They made top 16, but they got knocked out by team 1, 2, 3. So this is kind of their redemption day as we do move on to Guarded.
Well, we do have a Pharah sighting, something you don't see quite as much in Europe, something you see a whole lot in NA. And we'll see if Dixie Dix has what it takes to control the skies here as both teams start trading out here on the courtyard. Winston's doing the baiting dance. Dixie Dix looking for rockets to the back line. Not quite going to be able to get a pick-off or knock-off there, but the Pharah has created a lot of space control here for Gamers Origin. NIP had to take shelter into the right building.
Yeah, because they all kind of clumped up into one area. Linkser finally answers on back. He's the one on Soldier 76, but he does go down to Ben Best. And talk about compositions, NIP here, Himsy has swapped off onto that D.Va, so they're not playing that typical 3-2-1 that we've been seeing so far.
Just a little bit of spinning. It's still good. It's still good. So, Gamers Origin going to get first control of the point here, and the Pharah Gambit has worked out a bit. And here's the question for me is, how is Himsy going to deal with this? Because the way that you see teams deal with Pharah a lot in NA is that you'll send the D.Va to really mitigate the impact of the Pharah and create space for your 76. But that's also one way to open things up. Pulse Bomb the Winston, and 6v5 on the way here from NIP. But it's sick, firing right back. The bombs for both teams on point.
Yeah, now Poco does have that tactical visor, and once that D.Va mech is gone, he can push forward with it if he wants to, and he immediately will.
Tac visor from Poco. All enemies are in his sights right now, and that is just a clean tac visor where there's just really nothing to get in his way.
Just great decision-making coming out from Poco there. Knew what the win condition was. Get rid of the D.Va, get rid of the defense matrix, and you have a clean shot there with that tactical visor. So now Gamers Origin sitting at 50% and ticking up.
Gamers Origin is a really good position here, and they do have a swap up. They don't actually want to stay on the Pharah too much longer. I don't think Dixie Dix really thought he was getting as much as he wanted in that last fight, but the D.Va will create more room for the backline of Gamers Origin, certainly more room for Poco as this next fight is underway. Sound Barrier and Transcendence being used respectively by both teams, but both Winstons dying early as Gamers Origin. They use the Sound Barrier, and they are really just trading out Barrier and Transcendence, as both teams using both support ults early on in this fight.
Yeah, the longer this fight goes on, the better for Gamers Origin at this point. They're so close. They're at 80% now, and with those frags, it's going to force back NIP. And pushing forward, NIP don't have too many impactful ultimates to work with. Fraggy does have that Primal Rage, but he just used it. Himsy got demech'd here. He will have a self-destruct for the next fight, but that's really it.
That was the window for NIP. They entered into an ultimate showdown, and they lost. And all the ultimates had faded. Gamers Origin kept control of the point, and Poco with the tac visor will relentlessly mow down anyone else dare attempting to delay.
Yeah, that Pharah just doing so much work. NIP really struggled with it in the opening fight, and we know how important these opening fights are on the point.
The Pharah worked for the first 50%, and it made things difficult for NIP to come back in, where even though the Pharah wasn't in play for the last 50% of the map, the damage had been done at this point. Now, I don't know if we're going to be seeing Gamers Origin bring up the Pharah again. It didn't really seem like they were that comfortable with running it for a long period of time. But Dixie Dix back in the Genji. He's been a good Genji all day long. Not bad of a swap up here as we move into the night market.
Yep, night market, and it's going to be mirrored compositions. 1-1 is our scoreline here on Lijiang. I'm surprised that they didn't offer possibly a triple tank lineup here. We've seen a lot of the European teams actually do that last week, along with NA, I believe, where they were going for that Zarya-Reinhardt combo.
Well, NIP in general, it feels like they are getting away from what their roots were, and even in a situation like this where perhaps a triple tank setup could be good, I don't think they want to let themselves get back into that mode. Either way, the first fight here is underway, and Fraggy going very deep early on and getting punished just as quickly. Linkser and Fraggy, one thing we had to note about this dive is that they're really far out from the rest of the NIP squad. NIP is all the way back, Linkser and Fraggy all the way in the front, and I feel like they're not making it as decisive as a dive could be if you're working with the rest of your team.
Yeah, we saw that getting punished earlier on also by Gamers Origin, just being able to pull back once the dive did come in and focus down targets, so now they're the ones that are the aggressors.
Well, NIP going to be trying to get out of this lock that they find themselves in. Gamers Origin just trying to hold on to the front, but NIP, they do strike blood early on. And again, it's the Winston Genji dive getting punished here, this time on the side of Gamers Origin, and NIP able to just casually roll up and take it back after dealing with that early Winston Genji dive.
And this is also one of the reasons why we've been seeing like the Koreans really throw on D.Va. They can jump in there and not worry about too much damage because she can mitigate it initially with that defense matrix.
Well, you don't see quite as much D.Va in Europe, period, and it's obviously there's differing philosophies on the game, but I would agree that D.Va in some of these cases would help. In any case, you do see NIP taking this fight here in the back room, and it's working out. Zappis just easily cleaves through Dixie Dix, ends up falling perhaps a little bit too deep, but the important thing here for NIP is that they still have control of the point, and they trade it out effectively enough that they will have respawns come in before Gamers Origin can really make a good attempt at it.
Yeah, 40% and ticking up for NIP, but Gamers Origin starting to press forward now, but once again, like you had mentioned, Ben Best, that Winston going down first to Himsy.
Ben Best, again, was really far out, trying to create disruption, but just create depth for himself, and a great opportunity for NIP to just roll in and clean up Gamers Origin here, despite the fact that they're holding on to quite a few ultimates.
That was a really disjointed push coming out from Gamers Origin. As soon as they lost Ben Best, I expected them to try and fall back, but instead they try to go for that cheeky play where they try to get the back cap onto the point, but very rarely does that work.
Well, if you look at the Route 66 play, Gamers Origin is the poker player who has a really bad beat and then doubles down and goes, surely this will work out, as they go into a 5v6. It didn't work out. Gamers Origin, though, they're not really going to get what they want in this push either. Time is quickly going against them, but they lose Dixie Dix before anyone is able to do anything ult-wise, so they could go in with 5 ults, but they're probably going to wait for Dixie Dix in what will be their final attempt to retake this point.
Yeah, I like that they made sure they weren't funneled in there in that choke point. They are immediately pushing out 95%, but Sound Barrier is used by Gamers Origin.
Both teams dropping the beat. They're both all in, and NIP, despite the slight ult disadvantage early on, they clean up. It's a very late Dragon Blade from Dixie Dix, and though it's picked up 2, now 3, it still actually might bring this one back, but it's certainly a bit late to the party as Gamers Origin fighting for their lives, and just not quite enough as NIP 1 round away from booking their ticket into the semis.
Yeah, Dixie Dix was so close to swinging that back in their favor, and that's the strength of the Dragon Blade. We see a lot of teams being able to fight back from deficits with it. Unfortunately, Dixie Dix, even though he got 3, that just was not enough for them. And so,
well, it's a case where he didn't want to throw the Dragon Blade directly into a support ultimate, but even still, it felt a little bit late in that regard. It just, again, it sort of comes into this disorganization from initiation. We've seen it from both teams, but that was definitely a rougher round for Gamers Origin.
now Himsy already hovering over that D.Va, a little bit wary of that Pharah that came out originally here on Garden for Gamers Origin. I believe it was Dixie Dix playing that. But as soon as they don't see it, oh wait, it's coming out.
Well, as you can see here in the lower left, the next matchup will involve Cyclown, so look forward to that if you're a fan of that team. But now, we move back into the Lijiang Garden as NIP, 1 round away from going deeper into Contenders here on day 2 of EU qualifiers. And you see the fair coming out again here, Jamerson, as Dixie Dix trying to repeat the magic of last time.
Yeah, because he doesn't have that pocket, he has to be careful. If he takes any damage, immediately has to break line of sight from that Soldier 76. Lynx are doing a good job of focusing him down. Once again, make sure he is not in that fight for too long.
Well, Linkser thought he had a lot of room, but he had all the room in the world to eat a rocket as Dixie Dix going off here towards the very end. How quickly things can change Linkser as now you take a look at Gamers Origin. Great position here to get first control of the point, and history, in a sense, has repeated itself. It wasn't quite as dominant from Gamers Origin as the first time they ran the Pharah, and yet still, NIP did not have the best answer to it.
Yeah, we saw there that Linkster got jumped on top of by Ben Best, really enabling Dixie Dix as the Winston bubble did come on down. He just wasn't able to answer that far. She was able to get those rockets down. Now 20% for Gamers Origin.
And for Gamers Origin, if they play this right, if they avoid an early pickoff, just the Transcendence alone should be enough for them here early on. It depends on when Kendall gets a sound barrier. I think that's what NIP is waiting for here. So it's going to be barrier versus that. Actually, they get both support ultimates now, but they lose Zappis early on. So if they move in here with both of those ultimates, it's not going to be nearly as effective. And Gamers Origin just casually tearing through NIP, who does not want to throw good money after bad.
Yeah, Linkster has since swapped off onto that Genji. He was able to find one frag, but he does finally go down to Zik, and already time is starting to run out for NIP here on Garden. I mean, 52% on the board for Gamers Origin, and they've got 5 ultimates in tow. This
is a great position here for Gamers Origin. They are well on their way to forcing a map number 5, and let's face it, NIP today, they probably wouldn't have it any other way. It's got to toy with your heart a little bit longer, but we'll see if they can buck that trend here. They are looking for a way in, but for them, the best case scenario here would be a good junk rush where, no, they're doubling down. They're coming in with sound barrier. They are all in on this fight, and Gamers Origin readily obliges Fraggy already down to well-placed pulse bomb, and the barrage could be well on the way as Dixie Dix patrols the skies.
Yeah, despite this lost fight so far for NIP, they were able to force out both support ultimates. So when Linkster goes in with his blade for this final push, he has a huge window of opportunity, but he's got to deal with that tactical visor.
I gotta say, great stuff there for Dixie Dix. Just rolls around the back line, drops the barrage, and gets what he's looking for, waits out the defensive matrix, and just good patience on his part as NIP. Now, in overtime, they have to get here onto the point, but Poco hanging out here into the house, hangs out right into Linkster's Dragon Blade. That is not a fun party place at all. Linkster diving in. 2 kills here for NIP as they struggle for life. Here on the Garden, yeah, Jamerson, this is looking like it will be an effective push. NIP, not out of this just yet.
Yeah, that was a great play coming out from NIP. They set it up with Himsy going in with that self-destruct. Once that self-destruct came out, that forced Gamers Origin to split up, and they were able to actually target down Poco. As soon as Poco was targeted down by Linkster himself, there was no counter to that Dragon Blade, and Linkster was able to really enable the rest of his team to pick up the frags there. They will flip it back, but at this point, Gamers Origins have so much time to work with.
Goodbye, Poco. Fraggy sending you on a one-way trip to the pavement. Good knockout coming up there from Fraggy, and that wasn't even primal base. That was just him landing in a stylish way. Still, though, NIP getting wounded here, left, right, and center. They are losing the poke battle, and Gamers Origin is bringing this one right back. Who needs a soldier anyways?
Yeah, Ben Best coming on. That's going to be his 3rd frag of this fight, and now it's in overtime. It's ticking down, and there's no one from NIP even close. And so, we're taking it to a map number 5 now here on Lijiang.
Like I said, this has been the NIP story all day long. It would not, if NIP had cleanly won this 3-0, that would have been the shock to me. No, they need to toy with you and bring it to the very end.
I don't know how much more my heart could take, ZP. This is just too much.
It's tough, it's tough. I mean, I'm probably going to have to see the doctor after this, just to make sure everything is in the right place. However, we are heading back here to the control center, and NIP still with a golden opportunity to take the map and take the series.
Looks like it's going to be mirrored compositions once again, the exact same way they played it the first time these two teams met on this point. Last time, it was NIP going a bit too aggressive, Gamers Origin sticking as a 6 and punishing the 3 divers. We'll see if NIP make that same mistake or if they can find a better opening.
All right, now Gamers Origin moving right in. Not a whole lot of chill as they move right up here, and yeah, I think they're a little bit more willing to dive in, but now both teams actually taking it a little bit slow here. Neither wanting to go in early as Himsy, lucky not to die, eats a Helix Rock and just barely gets out of that. Yet, we see NIP going in right after, and I don't think they realized how out of it Himsy was there as Poco piles on in this fight. NIP start diving in there right as Himsy was trying to back up and get healed, and that was not on the same page at all.
Yeah, Zappis was a little out of position also. If you saw him, he was over there by the Mega Health Pack, by stairs in the inner corridor. And so when they went for that dive, they were only diving in with Fraggy and Linkster, so not the full dive either. And that just took a lot of oomph out of their push. So now Gamers Origin, once again, with the position first.
NIP not wasting a whole lot of time getting back in. Linkster, 76 is his target, but Ben Best is there with the backup. Unfortunately, Linkster just taken down from all sides, and NIP getting thrown off here with authority. Sure, Zappis is darting in and around, but he's not going to be able to bring this one back in all likelihood.
Poco does have that tactical visor at the ready. Pulse bomb not quite connecting by Zappis there, but it will make Gamers Origin a little bit more tentative.
Well, Zappis and getting that final kill, it wasn't good for the remaining fight, but it was good for the next fight because Gamers Origin, it's going to be a little bit delayed. They had to give up space because they didn't have a full 6, and it gave NIP good positioning. Fraggy, though, out, taken down very early on here in this fight, and now NIP stuck without their Winston. Now having to deal with the Transcendence, but they get that best right before it gets popped. It's just a little bit late, and now NIP is in a great position, and they're going to finish it out strong with the Transcendence of their own.
Only about 65% on the board for Gamers Origin before it gets flipped on over. Make that 66 now. They've got 2 ultimates ready to use for the next fight. Fraggy getting close to his Primal Rage, along with Zappis's Pulse Bomb. Nothing really to answer on the side of Gamers Origin.
No, not at all. But what NIP really needs here is a clean fight here, where I would just love to see a barrier into a blade that is done just really well. They have to worry about a blade from Dixie Dix, but this is a case where if you're going to win the round, you need to win something at this match, but they're already down 2, and Dixie Dix says, actually, I want more. Dragon Blade into the back, finds Linkster, cuts him in half, flanking DPS on the menu. And now, Gamers Origin taking it right back. Not much more room for error here for NIP as they were in the final round, and they have about 1 fight to get.
This is possibly the final fight between these 2 teams here on Lijiang Tower. It's getting closer and closer. 79%, 80 for Gamers Origin.
Gamers Origin now on the verge of doing this map, forcing map 3, but NIP, they're opening up the barrier, they're diving right in. Linkster still has that blade in reserve. Soundbarrier comes out from Gamers Origin, so Linkster has to hold it, but no! Taken down by Poco, drilled by the tactical visor, and Poco out for blood, getting the targets he needs. He said he had them in his sights, he was not lying. NIP on the verge of being brought to a 3rd map.
How fitting, as I believe every single match so far for NIP has gone to the 3rd map. But we do have a last-ditch effort coming out from Linkster, but he's going to get dropped down. Poco to finish that off.
Well, the blade finally comes out for Linkster, but that was pretty much a 1 versus all situation and wasn't quite going to work out for him. So Gamers Origin staying alive, bringing NIP to a map number 3. But if there is one thing to note here about 3rd maps today, NIP has probably had more practice on Anubis than any other team here at Contenders, so this is, in a sense, perhaps NIP's stomping grounds just by virtue of how often they've been taking the 3.
Yeah, their dive so far on Hanamura and Anubis has been looking pretty good. We'll see if they can maintain that up against Gamers Origin here for map number 3.
Yeah, we're going to all 3 here, and I just have to say, after watching that one, and even after watching some of the earlier matches, I like Poco. I actually really like him. He was making some plays, a little bit of a dry spell on the second half of 76, but he has some good visors, and he's been able to get some key kills here and there. And we've been talking a lot about some of the 76s we've seen, and they've been a little lackluster from a lot of teams.
Well, the thing about Poco right now is that you're seeing it more off tac visors than mechanical play, and he's also sort of doing what we call an NA, the Harblue, where a lot of times he's going off on a wide flank on his own, which can work out, but we've also seen him get punished multiple times by just the team realizing, wait, there's a soldier here and he's not with his team. Yeah. It doesn't really matter if you have a tac visor up in those situations. So he's been